There it is.
Okay, so now we're going to do the I, and the we. The I, and the we. Who remembers what this is called?
That.
The Venn diagram, but I gave you another name.
The vagina thingy?
Yes, that vagina thingy. The Vesica Pisces, or the myth of Persephone, who was raped and forced to go to the underworld. Why do we have relationships? Why are we getting married? Why are we having couples?
To say we have somebody?
Tradition.
Okay, to say we have someone, tradition, to fulfill their needs.
Our needs, because I'm included in that shit.
Absolutely.
Fulfill
She
my
listened, she knows, now we have to get you to apply.
You know-
Me too.
You know, like, it's crazy how you were talking earlier about Lilith. I'm Lilith. I always have to be on top. Because if not, I don't
Oh, I
get
know
off.
you're
Like,
Lilith, because
I-
Lilith is Mary Magdalene, and your mother's the
No,
Virgin
but
Mary.
I'm talking about the sexual part.
No, I know.
I need
We
to,
live
like,
out the
be,
myth
like,
exactly to the
and
T.
not-
I lived out
workout.
my myth.
I
When
know.
you guys study the different myths and you realize that
lazy.
your story, why do you think I say there's no new story?
I'm lazy.
No one's original.
Yeah.
What
I'm
she said?
lazy.
She didn't mean you can have a talk.
She wants to do the work.
I
Because
have
this top is the only place where she can be dominant when she lives with her mother.
I feel you on that one.
Who's, you know, and you, let them be reliable. Damn.
Yeah, but you see, my black moon is in the 6th house.
And
which
it's in
means work
Virgo,
it.
which is
Yep.
the virgin slut.
I'm more of Tanisha. I
You're
have my
prostitute,
once
that's
in
exactly right.
I have my once in a blue moon of you. But the rest of the time I'm like, okay, yes, let's do this.
Okay, so why are we in relationships?
Again, to fulfill our needs.
How do we fulfill our needs in a relationship?
Um,
You know this.
yeah, I know, but
By pleasing the other.
Is that how you fulfill your needs in a relationship? Who is your spouse? Who is your partner?
Out here.
Your mother or your father, or we know now that they're on the same vibration and that they're the same person, right? So your parents are your partner, and your parents never met your needs, so you hook up with your partner to try to get a redo, a do-over and a do-over and a do-over, and you fight about the same shit because it's the marital home, remember from last week, and you're married or in partnership with your parents.
I don't even want to hear you say that anymore sometimes because last time you were talking about this in class, I'm like, damn, I know that my husband is my mother a lot of times. And then, like, I see, like, the good, sweet stuff and stuff is my dad, you know? So then I'm like, now when I look at my husband, I'm like, damn.
So when you're on top, you see your mother's face?
That's why I like to be on the right.
Holy shit!
No, they have shown that so many times on TV.
I am not gonna have.
On TV, they've shown that so many times where people are trying to make love to their partner, they see the face of their mom and stuff like that.
Yes, I've seen that.
Right, so, okay.
Oh, God, no.
So, our parents, AKA
Jesus,
our
that's so
spouse, is there to do the same fuck up as our parent and not meet our needs. So is your partner going to change because you've decided to meet your needs?
No.
No, because they're your parents. They're not supposed to. So who needs to change?
You.
You. And here we have the I, and the we. So who changed when she went and got raped?
She did.
She did.
yeah, she did.
Do you remember the story?
I don't even know.
Not quiet.
She was raped by Hades. She was pulled down to the underworld. She married him. She found herself. And then she decided 6 months of the year she was going to be with mom, 6 months she was going to be with husband. Okay, that's the very, very short version. So when she returns home, you return home different. Everybody needs a rape. This is the vagina. This is creation. This is where we do it differently. This is where we compromise. Compromise. This is when we get our needs met in this little vagina.
That's the circles.
Okay? This is the I, this is the I, this is the we. I first want you to understand, and I think I said this before. You guys remember when Mitt Romney said corporations are people too?
Yes.
Okay. Relationships are people too. I need you to remember that we come from a triangle. It's you, your partner, and the relationship.
Yes.
Okay? It's the I, and the we. The we, who remembers in The Truth is in the Triad, what was at the top of the triangle?
What you see in your partner is also in yourself.
What you see in your partner that's also in yourself that you don't like about your partner, or that's taking energy away from you and the relationship, and what do you have to do with it? Not change it. You have to give it to yourself. That person has to give it to themselves, and then you give it to each other. This thing, whether it's infidelity, whether it's television, whether it's friends, whatever it is that takes away energy from you and from him or her, is what you need to give yourself. Tanisha needs to give herself reliability. Okay, I wrote this sobby, disgusting email to my ex-husband on Sunday. It's so pathetic. Why not me? Freaking ridiculousness. I have to give that to myself. Why am I not putting myself first? Why am I not giving myself the attention? If I'm asking for attention, that means I need to give myself attention. So I've started. And then the couple has to give it to each other. Now, if you're wondering how you give infidelity, it's not infidelity. You ask, what did that other person give you? And I gave you that client case where he's like, compassion, she understood. James participated and said he wanted attention. So James had to give himself attention. His girlfriend or wife had to give herself attention, and then they had to give each other attention. So the tip of the triangle tells everything.
Yeah.
This is a similar thing.
I went through that.
Okay. When you meet a person, do you have your values?
Yes.
Do you know what your values are?
Not all of them.
Most people don't have a clue what their values are. That is why everybody is in the position that they're in. We feel when we're violating our values, but we don't necessarily know what they are. That's the purpose of the rule book. The purpose of the rule book is to write down your values. I'm not going to go out with you on Tuesdays because I go bowling with my friends. That's a value to me. I'm not going to change just because I met you, new sexy hot guy that I'm going to be on top with. I'm going to go bowling with my friends. And you stick to it.
My husband didn't like that about me when we first started. Because when we first started dating, I told him, I was like, he started sleeping over my house like almost every day. And I had to tell him one day, I was like, listen, you know I'm a single mom. My daughter doesn't know any other man except for my brothers and my best friend, which is a guy who lived across the street. And I told him, I was like, you have to be out here every day before she even wakes up. So it's like this. It's either you start coming here only on the weekends and you're not allowed to sleep here during the week, or you move in here. It's one or the other. And if that's not what you decide, then you do what you want to do. And like I said, I gave him so many rules that he was like, "What the hell?" And I swear he was gonna take off, but he was like, "This is the first time
what if he takes off once you give the rules? That will hurt for a little while. But when you break your own rules, that hurts for a really long time.
Oh, yes, of course.
I know that part of the reason that I'm in the situation that I'm in is because I broke a lot of my own rules and I violated my values. I know this. So it's okay if the person doesn't like the rules that you set, and that's exactly what this is. These are the rules of your life, these are the rules of his or her life, and then you're gonna make we rules. This is where you create the relationship. Most people do not take time to do this. Yesterday I had a client, and you could do this with anything. I had a client that wanted to discuss intimacy. Her and her husband rarely have sex, and when they do, she says it's terrible. Okay? And the reason is that she has changed a lot. She's gotten a new wardrobe, and she's lost weight, and she feels good about herself, where before she was heavy. So she already didn't want to have sex because she was self-conscious. Now she feels good, he feels threatened, so he doesn't want to have sex with her, and it's a shit show. So I gave them this assignment. I give them the I and the we, and it's just for intimacy. And so she has to put her rules, he has to put his rules, and then they have to come up with rules together about intimacy, or about money, or about children, or about sleepovers.
Right.
And if you are not clear on your values, if you are not clear on your rules, you will break them. You will break them. This is what's happening with you. You're breaking your own rules because you're not clear on them. You know that a mother needs to get her kid to school. You know that she needs to be back for school on Monday. So you know that she has to be back Sunday. But you're doubting that. And that's logic. School is important and she needs to be back for school. And you're even doubting that because your other person is going to put doubt in your mind. Why?
To balance
What?
No. She
Why is your partner always going to put doubt in your mind about what your rules and your values are?
Because you're not putting your foot down. You're not putting your values.
No.
Who are they?
They us.
Yes, you.
They're your parents. And your parents fucked you up and told you one thing and did another. How many of you parents and you that are parents told your kids not to lie?
Oh,
Yeah, you lied. You were lying when he was at your house. And under the same roof. Go home before she wakes up. We all lie.
My mom quit to lie on me. Well, I am her lie.
Okay.
I am my mom.
Ooh, that is a heavy, ooh.
Yeah.
That's a year of therapy right there.
Year of therapy? Yeah.
That you are a lie. You just called yourself a lie. That's why you cannot be reliable.
Yeah, I'm her lie.
Okay, that needs to be explored. I want you to put
Think
that in the
about me, I
model.
say that right.
I want you to
Yeah,
put the
I'm
model.
Yeah.
I want you to, no, you said it right. Your
Yeah, like-
subconscious
yeah.
screams
She-
right now.
You said she lies on you a lot. Like she's quick to lie on you, you said.
No, that
And then-
she's the lie.
No, but she said that right before.
Her
Right before she
existing.
said that,
Oh, no,
she actually
no.
said that too.
No, what she said.
She said
My
that.
mama
No, you
used
said
me
both.
as her alibi. Like, I'm my mama lie. Like, every time she need to lie, I'm her alibi.
Got it. But still, that's
No,
still
no, no,
heavy.
no, no, no. But
That's
you
not
said
as heavy.
no.
That's just the
She said
stop.
both. She did say both. She
okay.
said what I said first. Then she said, my
I'm a lie.
mom,
But I
my
can't
mother's
be her
lie.
lie about my existence. She didn't know about neither one of us.
And that's a lie.
Yes.
How is it a lie? if she
Because
didn't
you know you're pregnant.
You had if you had sex and there was no like protection,
No, I
obviously.
did
But
not.
there
remember,
might
she
be.
was young, so
I did
she
not
had both of
know.
us before she had what is called what we go through monthly.
Menstruation?
Yeah.
Then how was she pregnant? That's impossible
That's
biologically.
Yeah.
No.
Because she said she was still getting. Me and my brother are both early. We both were born early. My
No, yeah, but wait a minute,
Something isn't right there.
Yeah.
Let's finish the class, but that story is a lie.
No, I
There's
got.
too
You
much
have to have your period
pieces.
first before you ever get pregnant.
Listen, I went to jail, and that's when I found out. But I got my period, and I was already 6
You can
weeks
get your
pregnant.
period during
Yeah, you
pregnancy.
get pregnant.
My mom got it with my brother.
Yeah.
But she's saying her mother never had gotten it in her life.
Yeah, you
You
can
need
never
your
be
menarche.
pregnant.
You need
You
that
have to
first
be, you have to get your
period
period.
in order to be dropping eggs.
But I didn't try to say that. That's what
Okay.
I'm saying. Like she still had her cycle for the both of us.
Yeah, lots of women do.
Okay,
yes.
not a story.
That's different.
Just, but just like you
Yes.
said, like how you not know you pregnant. That's what I asked her. I was
Got
like,
it.
don't your
No, that's true. That's true.
Lots of women
Your
have
cycle
that.
has
Lots
to
of
Second
women.
stop,
thing-
but she was
The
telling
second
me
thing
she's
is,
figuring
it's
her
not a
cycle.
year of therapy, just a couple months. But the big one was, who are those people?
They're in the other class and they're walking
Yeah.
around.
Oh, that's a class?
Well,
Yeah,
It looked like
that's your
Tiziana was like
friend's
giving
class.
a tour of,
That's your friend's class, the
Oh,
one
the
that
school.
was sitting here last
oh,
time.
got it, yeah, I love her. Maria, when you watch. When you're like, oh, you're her alibi, okay, that's a different value statement. But that
Yep.
also means if she's using you as an excuse, is there an invisibility? Is there a reliability to lie? You could see that, but
Yeah,
let's get back to
But
this.
also words matter, how you say
Yes.
it.
Yeah, that's why I need to.
So
I need
that's
to
why
think
when-
before I
yes.
talk.
Yeah, but that's your subconscious. If you said I'm my mama's lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Nobody
a weird
says
thing.
that for no reason. Okay? Nobody says it even if you were thinking about it.
My mother
Just put it
used
into
to
the
be-
model.
No,
Put
now
lie
you're
into
just
the
trying to
model.
fix it.
What
Now
don't you
you're
like
just
about
trying
this
to
No,
place
but
thing or situation?
Even when she was trying to fix the,
Yeah, I
fix
know.
the sentence, it still was the same sentence.
No,
Yeah.
At the
exactly.
end of the day.
Okay, so let's go back. What I was saying, that if the person leaves because they can't handle your values, then so be it. Remember, it's law of vibration anyway.
Exactly.
They're gonna leave at some point, or you're gonna get fed up at some point, because if you're not vibrating. So just because you stay with someone doesn't mean you're vibrating at the same frequency, doesn't mean they're your thread mate.
Right.
It's simply that you've decided, or the other person has decided to violate their boundaries, to violate their values. Okay, so that's important. There are many people that are together that shouldn't be together. But the person is a doormat and lets the other person step all over them.
Yeah,
That's one
somebody like
case. Okay, so your parents fucked you up. Your parents lied to you. Your parents told you one thing and did another. They gave you a value system of being a virgin, but yet here she sleeps with her cousin. All of us have been lied to by our parents, and we lie to our children. Because remember that your parents were human before they were parents. And even if they don't lie to you, at the moment of conception, there were lies in their psyche, lies they had told. So we can't get away from that. That's why Mercury is the planet closest to the sun. And
But
every
is it
single
good?
one of you has Mercury right next to your sun. Because every one of you has a mass, which is Mercury, and every one of you has a tinge of lie, cheat, and steal.
Is it good though to sit there and tell your kids everything? Because like people.
No,
think
there are
that's
things that
shameful.
are appropriate and there are things that are not appropriate.
No, I'm saying like if they don't ask until like a certain age and then you tell them because they ask.
Yeah, that's each person's
Because
individual decision. I
people
know that I
bash me for
share
that.
way too much with my kids.
I do too.
When they were younger, now they're all adults, and even then, but still. But that's an individual thing.
Yeah. 'cause people
That's a
bash me.
parenting style, and but yeah, I believe there are certain things that children
Right.
don't need to know until they're older, until they're wise enough to
Exactly.
ask, because that means that mentally they're ready for the
Right,
answer.
right.
Or not, but for the most part. So that's, that's on each individual parent. But we know that each child and every single human being as a child has been lied to. Every single person. Every single person. There's not a person in this world conflicting value statements. Every single one. I wasn't marriage material, my mother said, but you better get married. She put me in an arranged marriage. Is that a conflict? Which one is it?
Yeah.
Get married or don't get married? That'll fuck a kid up.
Yes, it will.
Every single one of us has conflicting value statements. That is what you're going to work in here. And guess what? If your spouse and you are the same person, you're going to have the exact same or the exact opposite value statements, which means you're going to have the same conflict. When I met my second husband, he was sober. I was sober. Sober in the sense that I didn't drink. During the course of our trouble, he began to drink again. I had to question my values. We now had a conflict. Am I okay with my partner drinking? The relationship is going to challenge this. My parents don't drink, once a blue moon. But drinking is the same thing as addiction, and addiction is the same thing as delusion, and my parents are sure as hell delusional when they were in a cult. So it had nothing to do with the act of drinking. What I was having a trouble with was, how can you tell me not to drink when you're just as delusional or addicted to this cult life? That's why astrology helps us. Because addiction, cult, spirituality, all of this stuff is ruled by this, Neptune. So who cares if he was drinking? What I was questioning was the fact that my parents said, be your own boss, be in charge of your life, but do everything she says. That was where the conflict lies. So it's not always going to look the exact same way. That's where astrology helps. That's why I give you the archetypes. Okay? So, you're going to work the conflicting value statements, and then you can grow together. What are some of the conflict value statements your parents told you?
I was just thinking about this while you were speaking. I don't remember, like...
They don't need to be spoken.
No, I don't even remember.
Did your mom tell you to cuidar tu cuerpo?
Oh.
Well,
Did your mom tell you family was really important?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I
family's
have
really
very few
important,
memories
but you're
of her.
12 and get the fuck out.
Yeah. It's crazy because I barely remember that much of any memories except for like bad ones during my young years.
And you're at an advantage.
And that my mom
and I
was
told you
barely
this
ever
before.
around. Like I don't really remember my mom being in a lot of the stuff except for like the times I would see her going through bad things, or like the times where she would fight with me or like hit me and stuff. Those are the
But
things.
was she teaching you that the mom is super important? The mom is the most important person in your life.
No, I mean the only thing that I ever saw that made me think like that was that she did work and then she would come home and like we were the ones that cleaned the house, we did everything. So it's like I didn't really see
But she
much.
was the provider.
She was the one, yeah.
She was out working.
Yeah, because my stepfather went to jail, and when he went to jail, she was the only one working. And then my father was never in my life. Like we left from New Jersey when I was 4.5,
So she really only had one parent.
Yeah.
That was her mom.
That
so
wasn't
the
her
most
mom
important parent was mom, but yet mom kicked her out. That's a conflict.
yeah.
What's a conflicting value statement?
My mom always said me speak when you're spoken to, but then when she's talking to me and I answer back, that she says I'm being rude and disrespectful, so then
Oh my
I don't
God,
know
yeah.
when to answer or not answer, so I'm like hesitant, like should.
And isn't that what we just experienced
Yeah,
with your
and
guy on the phone?
Right, and it follows me all
Of
through my
course,
life. And I'm
they
like,
all follow us. That's a perfect statement. Your values, your judgments, your beliefs follow you throughout your life. In this lifetime, you will never, ever, ever fully reprogram your subconscious. You will make tiny little changes, little corrections to your boxes. Maybe one thing you'll do different, but you gain awareness. You have awareness around it. So now the next step is to integrate. But of course, she's gotta wonder, when the hell do I speak?
Yeah.
I'm told one thing and I'm shown another.
That's crazy, because then you don't get to voice your opinion at all.
Right, and every single one of us has a huge ass bucket filled with conflicting value statements, and we don't know what the hell to do with them. And those are the things that are screwing us up, and those are the things that we're bringing into the relationship. And that's why we're like, you don't love me. You should have bought me flowers. Well, did we have a rule about this? Did we do our I and the we about romantic gestures? But we want the other person to read our mind, especially women. Especially women. You should read my mind. No! Absolutely not.
I can't read yours. How do you?
At the establishment of the relationship, you establish the rules. Can you change them? Of course you can change them. At the beginning of the relationship, you're going to be horny as shit. By 20 years in, you're not even going to want to look at each other, sleep in the same room, because the snoring bothers you. These are the things that happen. So you find different ways of being intimate.
We just think
So this couple, the woman does not want to get divorced. I could tell. She told me, I asked her, I can really tell that you love your husband. She goes, no, I want to make it work. I just want to be more intimate. So yesterday I gave her the assignment, and she's going to talk to her husband. I offered them a session together since it's over the phone, because he's kind of weary of counseling and stuff like that, because they live in a small community and he doesn't want anyone to find out. But if not, I said, you do it with him. You give him the paper, and he writes his values around sex, around intimacy. How many times a week, or, you know, if they're gonna go on a date night, or whatever it is. And then you get together and you talk about it. As you get more mature in a relationship, and I used to say this to my husband, do not spend $100 on freaking flowers. That is ridiculous.
Yes.
Ridiculous. I don't need them that much. Or get me a $5 bunch of freaking Walgreens. Let's get serious if you want to give me the gesture.
On the corner.
Edible
$5.
roses are nice.
What?
$5 on the corner for 12.
On the corner, you get 12 roses.
I don't even
Do not send me $100 thing of roses. Because now we've established our financial goals, our I and the we of the finance. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you. I can't get sick, and I've been feeling this thing coming on.
That's not good.
No.
No. It's cold too.
Put your
When
jacket
you
on.
have your jacket,
Yeah, you jacket right
put
behind
your
you.
I don't
jacket
want to
on.
wear it.
She's like a
Put your jacket on.
I am the we with myself. I told you I have Black Moon in the first
No
house.
wonder you're like her mom, because she's like a
Yeah,
little
because
girl.
I am.
You are like
I am
a little girl.
Put your jacket
I
on,
absolutely
woman.
And let me tell you that I really thought that I would grow out of that. This lifetime, I am a little girl, and I want to be taken care of and loved like a little girl.
I get the
By
same
my
myself.
work mom, by my friends, I do.
You
I
listen
just-
like a little kid.
I
You
do.
don't. You don't listen.
Yeah.
So,
I'm a little in that sense, little.
well, we all have a child,
Yeah, yeah.
but my unmet need was the touch and the belonging, and so I want that. I want
Yeah.
to be, you know.
Well, everybody needs it.
So,
Instead,
and
my
I've gotten
mom-
better, but I still
My
want
dad
that.
used to always buy her flowers and cards and so I don't think that man got laid. I don't think he
Okay,
ever got
but
laid.
let me
after
tell
he
you.
had us.
Let me tell you something. You are doing this whether you write it down or not. You are establishing the rules of the relationship whether you write them down or not.
Yeah.
So whether you would have said that or not, you would have picked fights with him so that he couldn't have slept over.
Oh, yeah.
Or you would have gotten up early in the morning and made coffee at 3 a.m.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
said something, and you left your socks, get out, just so that he woke up and he didn't see his daughter.
He knows that.
So whether we say it or not, we're doing this assignment. We might as well do it consciously, because
I don't have it on my
subconsciously you're
mind.
already doing it.
I say exactly how it is. He knows that. So.
You make the rules of the relationship. They don't have to be spoken. You knew your parents and what their rules were, and they just had to look at you. It's the same exact thing.
Yeah.
Partner equals parents. It's the R for redo. So let's do it over the right way. Let's be conscious about it. Let's create something new. The relationship is his own entity, okay? We have to wrap up, but I want to get to